After England's early exit from the World Cup, the series against New Zealand took on added significance, and there were changes. David Lloyd stood down as coach, and Alex Stewart was replaced as captain by Nasser Hussain. The England side had a new look too, with recalls for Phil Tufnell and Andy Caddick, the first home cap for the young Surrey fast bowler Alex Tudor, and debuts for Aftab Habib of Leicester and the 20-year-old Nottinghamshire keeper Chris Reed.
Very nervous walking to the ground or driving into the ground and entering the dressing room on that first day and seeing the people sort of flood into the seats. That was the butterflies wouldn't leave me alone. But then, we got out onto the practice ground and I prepared in the same way I would for any other game, and everything went fine. And when I took this first ball down leg side, and on that first day, I sort of, my nerves not quite disappeared, but they subsided.
With vociferous crowd support, Edgbaston had been a happy hunting ground for England in recent years, but World Cup semi-finalists New Zealand were determined that they would be no pushovers. They won the toss and chose to bat, but it was a very unhappy return to his home ground for Roger Toos, who succumbed to only the third ball of the match. Andy Caddick removed Matt Horn fairly soon afterwards, and then Alex Tudor entered the fray.
But the first over I was nervous, but after that I was all right, and I got a wicket, and sadly one went down at second slip, and I've heard of a lot of people say I didn't bowl as well as I could have, which is most probably true. But if I take that second wicket, then you're into the lower order batsmen, and to say I couldn't pick up, end up with 4.
Nathan Astill provided Chris Reed with his first Test victim, but it came from a slightly unlikely source, Mark Butcher.
That wouldn't have been how I would have imagined it in my dreams, but I was very grateful to snap it up.
When Andy Caddick dismissed the dangerous Chris Cairns and Craig McMillan in quick succession, New Zealand were tottering at 104 for 6.
Brilliantly done.
Edgbaston is one of those weeks you're not too certain what's going to happen. The fact that we got them down to a few wickets quite early on was even better for us, but you're still looking to knock them over pretty quickly. But Adam Perori played a great knock there and got New Zealand back in it.
And Perori, a little bit of width, a little bit of bounce, and a shot with more control. It's gone nice and fine from Perori, and that will be his 50. Tremendous effort from the New Zealand wicketkeeper batsman.
Ultimately, the breakthrough was achieved not by the seamers, but by Tufnell. And with Perori last out for a fighting 73, the New Zealand total reached 226.
Brilliantly done. Mullally, at long last, could raise a smile instead of a look of frustration.
If England thought they'd done well, things were rapidly put into stark perspective by a disastrous start. Allott, Doull, Cairns and Nash wreaked havoc as England collapsed to 45 for 7 in 24 overs.
From Simon Doull. That's out. That's gone straight to Nathan Astill at second slip.
Oh, what an absolute rip snorter. Tell you what, that's as good a ball as you'll ever see. That's pitched.
He's gone as well. Pitch further up and gets the reward for it. Aftab Habib in his first match is dismissed for 1, and England are on the canvas here. They're 40 for 6. Edged again, and this time it's Gully that takes the catch.
Caddick and Tudor found themselves back in action much sooner than they'd hoped, but clearly enjoyed the challenge.
It's one of those things I've always gone out with the intention of the ball's moving around a bit, it's no good hanging around. Might as well put bat to ball and make sure you get a score. The magic ball will come along and might, if you're blocking it, so or just playing for runs. So as far as I was concerned, and me and Choose discussed in the middle, just to get on with the game.
That'll be 4 runs, 50 partnership.
Yeah, we was in a sticky situation. We were 40 odd for 7, I think it was, and myself and Andrew added 70 important runs in the end, and we both were enjoying it. We were just saying, if there's a lot of jaffers going on now, a lot of good balls, so if there's any width, to sort of throw the kitchen sink at it, and it paid off. And I felt it was most probably low order batsmen that were going to most probably get the runs, because they got an attitude where they don't really care, and they felt relaxed, and everything sort of went really well.
But when Caddick was caught behind off Nash for 33, the end came swiftly, leaving England with a first innings deficit of exactly 100. Perhaps surprisingly, the mood in the England dressing room remained upbeat.
I think was positive. I mean, obviously we knew we hadn't or 100 deficit was a lot of runs, but we saw the way the ball was swinging around and moving, and we knew with our attack that we could do the same, if not bowl them out for less, as it turned out we did.
And England couldn't have had a better start, as poor Roger Toos completed a pair by falling LBW to the very first ball of the innings. And that was just the start, as wickets fell in a cascade, with debutant Reed in the thick of the action.
Steve Buckner eventually puts up his finger.
Edged and gone.
Andy Carrick on his way in. That's through to the keeper, fingers up again. That's the wicket that Ian Botham was talking about just a few seconds ago. That's out of Brindley Courts, beautifully done by Andy Carrick. Well done. The Yorker gets through. Andy Carrick has his 5th wicket of the innings.
At 52 for 8, Simon Doull clearly decided that attack was the best form of defence.
Club straight down the ground, that's unorthodox, but it's very effective. And it's 4 more.
But when Reed stumped Doull off Tufnell to secure his 6th dismissal of the innings, New Zealand were all out for 107, leaving England 208 to win. In the context of the match, it looked like a daunting prospect. What England desperately needed was a good start.
Oh, bowls. Jeff Allott has dismissed Alex Stewart. It's the Yorker.
Stewart's dismissal meant that an astonishing 21 wickets had fallen in the day, and England decided it was time for a night watchman. The mantle fell upon Alex Tudor at the last minute.
Well, the funny thing was, I think, Andrew Caddick was, the prime choice, but he bowled tremendously well and he was a bit tired. And, Nas said, you batted pretty well in the first innings, so just get your pads. And I just, ran and got them on. And, sadly, Al was out late that night, so, it was really dark. And I had to go out there and survive 1 ball, which I did. And, came back in the morning and just carried on, really.
On the Saturday morning, it was noticeably less humid, and Tudor was relishing the battle ahead.
I was just really willing to go out there. I said to Ramps, who's my buddy, my batting buddy, I said, if I stay out there a period of time, you're going to see some shots. And
that's a very good shot. Excellent cricket shot indeed. And again, the rest recover this time. Hit with tremendous power. On the up, in the air, but safe. It's a beautiful shot through the covers. Superbly timed. And Roger Toos can give that one away.
Don't know quite what that's hit. Yeah, he's given it out. Inside edge on the pad.
When Mark Butcher fell to Dion Nash for 33, New Zealand must have hoped that the assault would falter, but they hoped in vain.
No ball. Edged it and got away with it. Very well caught by Perori.
We had a talk with Graham Gooch out in the morning, show how he would go about it. And, he said, block the good balls, and if there's any width, be positive. And that's the way we went out. And myself and Mark Butcher in the morning, Mark batted really well, and he showed his intentions, and I just followed suit, really. And it just carried on a lot longer.
That's a pleasure.
The game was always on a knife edge. You didn't know which way it was going to go. But we gave ourselves a good chance, the fact of getting 200. So, the fact that Choose batted so well, uncharacteristically for himself, but yeah, he batted superbly and got us that game.
No better way to bring up a half century. Alex Tudor has played a blinder here today.
Yeah, I didn't have to get my pads on that morning, fortunately. I just sat watching the action and lapping it up, and Alex Tudor played a wonderful knock from night watchman, and he was ably supported by the guys at the top of the order. It was a wonderful feeling to come off that field with a win.
Quite deliberate.
It took me a couple of overs to get into it, and once I did, you can sort of hear the crowd chanting your name, and you want to, you try not to focus, but I'm young and I've only just come in, so you can hear all that, and it sort of spurs you on. It gives you a good lift. They're all behind you. We were confident that if we stay there, and play our shots, that we can win the game, and it went pretty well. And it's just nice, really, to have the whole country and the people at Edgbaston behind you. And I would like to thank them because it just feels good. You feel good. You're playing for your country, and the fans are behind you, and it sort of gives you an extra inch, and we appreciate that.
Picked him up off his feet.
He's cut them, and now he's pulled Simon Doull through mid-wicket. Great shot. The crowd really getting behind Alex Tudor and Nasser Hussain. A good Yorker. Now Tudor is in the situation that he has to hit a 6 if he's to reach 100. He's got 4. 99 not out in a test match for Alex Tudor. Splendid innings.
So in the end, England cruised to victory in just 2.5 days, and the mood in the camp was exultant. Tufnell and Caddick were back in the fold, Reid had quietly impressed, and Alex Tudor had won the hearts of the nation.
Today. Brilliant effort.
1-0 down and missing their premier fast bowler Simon Doull for the remainder of the series, the New Zealand team needed only to take a quick glance at their opponent's abysmal recent record at Lord's to lift their spirits. In fact, England's last 2 tests at the home of cricket had resulted in first innings totals of 77 against Australia and 110 against South Africa. The question was, could New Zealand capitalise on England's obvious insecurities?
I've been quoted as saying this before, but I think that the English are sometimes a victim of their own institution, and that we don't get very many games there in our career, and it's a great place to perform. I mean, so many great players have graced the field, so you know, what more motivation do you need?
One member of the England side in no need of motivation was Alex Stewart. A shaky start to the season, plus a double failure at Edgbaston, had put his place in the side under severe threat.
Yeah, I think it's been difficult for Alex, that's right, with the one-day cricket in particular. If you go back, he played extremely well at Melbourne, got another Test 100 there. And, you know, opening, he has got a very good record for England. Alex is a class player, he's got a proven record behind him. And it's great to see him at the wicket because he's a very attacking and attractive player.
Oh, he's edged it, inside edged it.
Mark Butcher's early departure brought Nasser Hussain to join his predecessor, and for a while his decision to bat looked a good one.
That's a nice stroke.
Yeah, the weather conditions that we've been told is that in essence, when you play at Lord's, unless the weather has a huge impact or the wicket has been covered for days, then you don't want to be batting last on a wicket that might be a little bit uneven.
Stewart's progression to 50 was a combination of aggression and good fortune, but a score in excess of 300 looked possible despite the continued overcast conditions. Then, with lunch approaching, Stewart edged to slip, and the innings took on an altogether different complexion.
Catch from Stephen Fleming. It's been misery for Nash against Stewart until now. We're into a phase now where the bowlers are not on top, but they're causing problems. And even more problems. That's well held and it's beautifully bowled.
There were great conditions for bowling at Lord's, and so we exploited that. Dion Nash himself bowled well, and we put pressure on him.
It's out. LBW, the in-swinging Yorker.
Yeah, it was good bowling conditions, and our guys did bowl well, and we caught well and we fielded well, and got them on the back foot from the start, and it's always hard in a five-day game to come back from that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been impressed by the way Cairns and Nash have bowled in the series. You know, I think they've really carried the attack exceptionally well, bowled with a lot of spirit and a lot of skill, and you know, put in a lot of hard work for New Zealand. So I'm not surprised because I believe that both of them are capable bowlers, and it's been hard work against them, you know, this summer.
The Chris Cairns slower ball added insult to ignominy for young wicketkeeper Chris Reid.
He's bowled Chris Reid neck and crop.
He's probably not faced me that much, and it came out well, and he ducked it. So it was great for me and bad for him.
When it comes out well for Kenzie, it comes out well, and it is a very hard ball to play. I think we even struggle sometimes in the nets, and when it doesn't come out so well, it's easy for the batter.
With Edgbaston's batting hero Alex Tudor out injured, skipper Hussain was left to glean what he could from the fragile tail, and his judgment outside off stump was exemplary.
Oh, that's a good shot. Magnificent pull shot. And with that, he brings up his 50. He's made a few for England, but just how valuable has this one been?
Yet although he registered a 50 for himself, he couldn't get his side past that bogey 200 figure. Ken strangling him early on the second morning for 61.
You know, the weather conditions are such that in any test match you can, the ball will seem around to start with, and as it happened, the cloud cover stayed for the whole day, and they bowled exceptionally well and made the ball swing. Again, not a great batting performance by us, and the weather, as everybody knows, the weather was fine from there on in, and you can't keep getting bowled out for low scores, and so we then played 2 test matches when we bowled out for less than 200.
We knew that we'd done well, for them to win the toss and bat. Then we had to grind them into submission, and Matthew Horn played a fantastic innings. Everybody batted around him, and we put a very good first innings score on the board.
Well, it's a brave stroke and a hugely effective one.
That's gone fine. That's 4 runs.
He digs in, and once he gets in, he's pretty hard to remove. And yeah, more than likely, if he gets the 40 or 50, he usually goes on and gets a good score. And he's pretty hard to get out. He's just a hard nut, and he's a hard nut to crack, I suppose.
Well, that has bounced, and that's hurt. He doesn't like to show too much emotion, Matthew Horn.
Horn's mobility was hampered by repeated blows to the body, but he bravely stood his ground, allowing Nathan Astle and then Roger Toos to provide impetus from the other end.
Yeah, I got hit a few times actually. Had to have a look at that and assess that, and we've done some work there. But that's all part of it, I suppose. It limited my top hand there for a while, but I just looked to hang around, like I said.
Obviously, was quite hampered. He got hit early on in the innings on about 30 or 40, and he showed great courage and bravery and skill to get through and score 100 for his team, which put them in the match-winning position.
Just drifting down leg side, and Horn cashes in 4 more.
It was easy for us to bat, I think. The sun came out a little bit on the days we had to bat, and it was overcast when they started, so it did a little bit. And to be fair, we probably got the better of the batting conditions.
He'll come back for his second. He won't. He'll send Roger Toos back, and he'll stay at the non-striker's end and acknowledge the applause of his teammates on the balcony. Matthew Horn has earned himself a special moment at the home of cricket.
3 late wickets on the Friday evening, including Horn for an even 100, raised England's expectations for the weekend.
Well, a big shout here, and he's gone.
But night watchman Daniel Vettori defied their ambitions with a confident 50.
Stroke, Nasser Hussain just changed the field, and Vettori has picked off Caddick.
He's a very good hitter of the ball, and it really was a bonus. And we were very lucky because the guys at the end of the innings, Vettori, Cairns, played particularly well, and they hit the ball around. So that was positive as well. It got the England bowlers on the back foot at the start of day 3.
It's a hard work, you've got 4 down, but still there's plenty of talent and all-rounders left. So it's hard work. We know that we've got to stick at it, and that they do bat a long way down. It's something that we came up against South Africa, and you've got to keep plugging away.
A further dent to home prospects was the finger injury that would deprive them of their captain for the rest of the match.
It's a difficult period, wasn't it? Whenever your captain, your captain gets injured and you're looking around for a replacement, it's just a case of getting on and doing the job the best you can. Obviously, we were losing a good batsman as well, which was always a concern, and we were chasing that game a little bit at Lords.
And in the air this time, he will be caught. Safely taken by Malali at backward point. Tufnell's done it again. 3 out of 3. He has wrapped up the New Zealand tail order.
Well, Lords is an inspiration to overseas teams. It's not exactly sort of deflation to our team. I just think that the opposition play very well, and this was just yet another example. They gained control of the game, they batted well in their first innings, and from then on it would always be a struggle. Obviously losing Nasser was again a huge blow, to have to bat without one of your major batsmen, but that tends to happen when things aren't going your way.
Going out there with a cushion of 170, guys had to bowl well again, they certainly did.
Yet for over an hour, New Zealand were unable to ram home their advantage. Butcher and Stewart coped well with the new ball, and when Fleming turned to Vettori, Stewart eased him through the covers at will.
A good bit of timing. Fine batting.
Then, having posted the 50 partnership, Butcher's patience snapped, and Astle took a good running catch. Stewart soon followed, also to the sweep, before Cairns' slow ball claimed another prize scalp.
Chris Cairns now, and Thorpe has strike. What a good piece of bowling.
And I must admit, it was a fantastic ball which got me, because it appeared in my eye shot to be a full toss. And it's not obviously until you come off and you see the replay that how he's managed to stuff you, and it was a terrific bit of bowling.
It was good to get him. He's a class player, and to deceive somebody like that is, I suppose all the practice you've done makes it all worthwhile. So it's great.
When Mark Ramprakash chased a wide one from Nathan Astle, it was 97 for 4, and the game was almost up. England still trailed by 75, Hussain would not bat, and the remaining 6 batsmen had a top test score of 33 between them.
Yeah, I mean, probably 3 out of the top 5 are pretty substandard shots, and I think they've admitted to that. And we're just happy to get it. I was happy to get it. It was out of my hands, really. He just wanted to nick it.
I think it has been a surprise to see how well they've worked as a unit, as a bowling unit. And once Nash and Cairns come off, there's no let-up, because the other bowlers do a good job too.
Jeff Alec contributed there in the second innings and picked up 3 wickets on the 4th morning, which was crucial for us.
And gone.
Yeah, I think that the underlying factor is that our guys just bowled with so much control and gave the English side nothing. And I think really that was where we won the test.
There was something for the Sunday crowd to cheer, however, when both Reid with 37 and Caddick with 45 made test best scores. Reid attacked the short ball with unexpected relish and displayed enough confidence and competence to suggest he may yet prosper at the top level.
That is a magical shot. The ball bounced quite high on him.
In the end, it took a dreadful shooter from Nash to end the partnership, and the best efforts of Mullally and Tufnell were unlikely to delay the Kiwis for long. Only 58 were needed, and young opener Matthew Bell had the honour of clipping the winning runs, which levelled the series. The margin of victory, 9 wickets, and that was a fair representation of the difference between the two sides.
It was a good team effort. There were some good individual performances, but the contribution was built around those, and that's I think the basis of a good team performance.
First time they've ever been successful here at Lord's.
For us to win there after no New Zealand teams won there before was pretty special, and something we'll all look back on with smiling faces.
So, England arrived at Old Trafford for the 3rd test with a new captain in Mark Butcher, an old captain in Mike Atherton, an old face in Graham Hick, and an even older spinner in Peter Such. Aftab Habib was dropped after 2 unconvincing tests, and Alan Mullally was sacrificed for the extra spinner. The Kiwis introduced Chris Harris for Jeff Allett as the single change from Lord's. Butcher's appointment in Hussain's absence owed everything to a successful run as Surrey's skipper during the World Cup, while the recalls of Atherton and Hick showed the selectors weren't prepared to risk youngsters with the seniors underperforming. It's worth noting that no England top-order batsman has survived more than 7 matches after debut without being dropped since Robin Smith in the late 1980s. As for the wicket, well, early indications suggested it would be the same spinner's haven that had favoured Muttiah Muralitharan all summer, and there was no disguising the disappointment on Stephen Fleming's face when he lost the toss and was asked to field. Yet from the start, it was a struggle for the English batsman on a surprisingly hostile surface.
I look at pitches nowadays, and it's best not to read a great deal into them, 2 days before a test match and things like that. On the morning of the test match, you could tell that the pitch had a little bit of dampness in it, where I think the groundsman Peter Marin had tried to keep the pitch together, and maybe his fears that it might break up a little bit, but it actually didn't. And it assisted the Singh bowlers on that first morning, and again Cairns and Nash, made good use of it and made inroads into our batting lineup.
We weren't playing very well, and again the situation at Old Trafford, the ball seemed around a little bit more than most people expected, as Stephen Fleming's expression showed when he lost the toss. He thought it was going to be a crucial toss to lose, but as it happened again, they bowled very well. They bowled with very good discipline against our batsmen.
Yeah, once again, it was difficult for them, and once again we bowled well. So they've taken a lot of stick in the media over the way they've played, but there's also 2 teams playing the game, and sometimes people perform better than others, and I think in the case of Lord's and the case of Manchester that we bowled well.
They've been very disciplined, and they've generally bowled one side of the wicket. and I think they've really not given us much to hit at all. It's been hard to get on top and try and dominate their attack.
A huge shout, Thorpe's on his way. Short leg has come into play, young Matthew Bell. He's got the safe pair of hands, and Vettori has broken through.
Day 2 was a different story. The pitch had flattened out, and although Harris chipped in with 2 quick wickets, Ramprakash was able to bat with confidence for the first time in the series.
That's a great shot.
I think the conditions play a part. In the first 3 hours, the ball moved around, but luckily when I went to the crease, I think the sun came out and made things slightly easier. And certainly the second day when I batted, the ball didn't move around off the wicket at all. So things were a great deal easier, and once you get in, get your eye in and get a few hopefully off the middle of the bat, then things get a bit easier.
Initially, Caddick supported Ramprakash well, and after he'd succumbed to a silly run-out for the second test in a row, Such hung around for over an hour before being cheered off for a 51-ball duck.
Peter did a great job. It's always very difficult in those situations to know how to play it, but I think you've got to try and hope that Peter Such and Phil Tufnell, the last 2 batsmen, can hang around with you and add some vital runs, and that's exactly what they did, and they played their part to the full.
Brilliant batting, such conviction in the stroke.
And it brings the end of Philip Tufnell.
Yet England had still failed to reach 200, and even the new ball couldn't wrest the advantage away from New Zealand.
Edge, and goodness me.
I had a bit of luck early on. Thorpe managed to put that one down, so I reassessed it and thought, well, I might as well make the most of what I can while I'm out here. And it actually ended up panning out into a pretty good batting wicket. And the encouraging thing out of that test was that guys got in and basically did the job. And we got a score of near 500. It was brilliant.
They then batted probably as well as they batted in the series, very positively, and quickly took the game away from us in terms of chances of winning.
Fabulous shot. Unquestionably the shot of the match for me.
The captain came in and got a quick 30, and that sort of set the tone, really.
The crucial partnership came on the 3rd day, when Matthew Bell and Nathan Astle put on 153 for the 3rd wicket at a good rate and took the Kiwis into the lead.
I mean, they scored at 3 and over, but then they played sensible, good cricket, and it was good to watch. They gave themselves the best opportunity to get in, and when they got in, they cashed in. So it was good batting.
The pitch, to be fair, it settled down a lot, and it became a very good cricket wicket. I thought there was a little bit of uneven bounce throughout the game, but not a great deal. It became a good pitch.
That has gone many a mile.
I had a bad World Cup, but since the World Cup it's been fine. Once my confidence comes back, I just go out and play my game. They've obviously got a chance the way I play, but if it's my day, it's my day, and that's the way I look at it. And I just went out there and played my shots.
They were positive, and they tried and took the attack to England, and they scored I think 3 and over, which is probably the highest for the series.
Astle's century, a brute of a knock, was his 5th in tests, whilst Bell's carefully paced innings of 83 was his first Test 50.
It was a good balance. He just kept it ticking over, and I was supposed the free spirit in that innings, but he got a very, very good 83 and just held up one end, and we could just bat around him.
Good shot down the ground now. Astle could scamper 3 here. He's done better. He's got 4, and he's gone through to his 5th Test match century. Great effort.
There was now no stopping New Zealand. Toos and Perori both fell to Such, but the power hitting of Cairns and Craig McMillan ensured the lead will be in excess of 250.
Very good, solid strike.
That's gone so flat.
Ramprakash. And another Dorothy.
I had a bit of a licence, mate, batting down there at number 8, and with the position we were in, it meant that I could free my arms a little bit and try and take him on, but just tried once too many times.
Got him. Well, Tufnell's enjoying it more now.
With Cairns gone, McMillan raced on to his 3rd Test century, sailing through the 90s with 2 reverse sweeps off Such.
When Craig McMillan, again, he got 100. they got a big score, and we were right up against it.
He's on 96. It's just a question of whether Butcher can cut it off. Umpire Shepherd has signalled forward, but Craig McMillan has made a century.
Fleming must have been tempted to torture England further when Vettori at number 11 finally joined McMillan. But the wicket was at last beginning to turn, and the lunchtime declaration seemed to have left England a big enough mountain to climb. But the weather was closing in, and the forecasts were ominous. This was perhaps Butcher's only consolation, as he was adjudged LBW for 9 to complete a disappointing match at the helm. And so it fell to the two most experienced men in the match to rescue the match for their country.
That's well played.
Yeah, I was very happy to see Mike Atherton and Alec get some runs, and they played as they can do. And I think, you know, once they've got a few in the middle of the bat and sort of got their eye in, you know, they're class players. And I think both of them have got over 6,000 test runs, and you know, it's good to see them at the wicket scoring.
Having added 99 with Stewart, Atherton fell victim to a rare bad decision from umpire Shepherd, although Vettori's control and flight deserved its reward.
That definitely looks as if it only hit the arm and not the glove.
Almost immediately, the heavens opened, and although the winning post was now in sight, New Zealand were unable to get home. Play was finally resumed at 2 p.m. on the final afternoon, and then for only 24 overs. Stewart and Thorpe saw out the time with a sort of consummate stroke play which England seemed to reserve exclusively for second innings fightbacks. New Zealand were powerless, and there was no hint of a breakthrough.
Yeah, we were pleased because as a batting unit so far we probably haven't played as well as what we can, and that's been shown by the amount of stick which we've been getting throughout the summer. But it can happen, and all you can do is, as batsmen, is dig your heels in and fight as hard as you can. So it was nice to come out of Old Trafford with a draw, and sitting at 1-1 for the final test.
I mean, it's part of it. We've been saved by the weather as well, and I think every cricketer just accepts that now. There's nothing you can do about it. There's no point beating yourself up over it, so it's just on to the...
The Vultures hovered with sharpened claws as England and New Zealand prepared for the series decider at the Oval. Of course, England would be the worst side in the world if they lost. That was now official, well, according to Wisden anyway. So naturally, there were more changes. Even the selection panel took a hammering, with Messrs Gooch and Gatting being relieved of their duties. Nasser Hussain's return to fitness meant no place for the unfortunate Graham Hick, and for Mark Butcher there was no chance to build upon the captaincy lessons learnt at Old Trafford. No chance to make a contribution with the bat either, as his place at the top of the order went to Leicestershire's Darren Maddy. Chris Reed's place behind the stumps went to Alex Stewart, of course. It was the Oval after all. And to give added strength to the batting, Ronnie Irani came into the middle order. Finally, with Dean Headley injured and Peter Sachs dropped, Alan Mullally returned, and Ed Giddins was given a chance to prove himself at Test level. For New Zealand, just the one change. Left armour Shane O'Connor was given the third seamer's berth when Jeff Allott lost his race to be fit. The first morning was dominated by Andy Caddick, who confirmed his standing as England's premier bowler of the summer with an inspired performance which perplexed everyone with its lack of reward. Somehow New Zealand lasted almost to lunch without loss, but it was Irani with a tempting ball outside the off-stump who made the breakthrough, snaring Horne from a miscued drive. After lunch, England enjoyed better luck with Mullally, Caddick at last and Giddins all finding the edge. Maddy's brilliant catch off Giddins would have settled both their nerves.
Oh, wonderful stuff! Darren Maddy has announced himself into Test match cricket with a brilliant catch, and Ed Giddins has announced himself into Test match cricket with his first wicket.
2 wickets in 1 Tufnell over left the Kiwis at 87 for 6, and the net was closing in.
Beautifully done.
But Fleming stoically resisted the onslaught, and although England removed Cairns for 11 and Nash for 18, the skipper was unbeaten on 52 at the close.
Beautiful stroke. Plays that on drive very well.
Vettori's boundary off the last ball of the day signalled his intentions.
It'll still be the last ball even though it's a 4.
Friday morning saw Vettori chance his arm from one end and Fleming nudge from the other. Somehow it worked. Vettori led a charmed life but struck 7 boundaries nonetheless, and his runner ball 50 took New Zealand to the relative sanctuary of 236.
That's a cracking stroke. Yeah, out. Tucknell's done it. Tory hitting across the ball. It just seemed to hurry onto him a touch.
And he's fixed him all right. First up, beautifully bowled. Lack of judgment there from Shane O'Connor. And Caddick gets some reward at last this morning. It's been a frustrating time for him and for England. So now the job has been done.
As the weight of expectation bore down on England, their batsmen faltered once again. Atherton and Maddy took the score to 25 without alarm, but then Nash found Atherton's edge and Fleming took a good catch at slip. This was Nash's 13th wicket of a profitable series, and the 23rd catch the Kiwis had snaffled behind the wicket. Maddy was undone by a perfect arm ball from Vettori, and then Thorpe presented Fleming with an easier catch, 46 for 3.
Ah, yes.
Stewart survived a close LBW call from O'Connor, and then, having added 41 with Hussain, played on to Vettori for a stodgy 11.
Bowled him, played it on. Dreadful luck for Alex Stewart.
This set another mini-collapse in motion. First Hussain, in a moment of recklessness, fell straight into Cairns' trap, a crushing blow, and then Irani was caught on the back pad for 1, 94 for 6.
There she goes, and he's going to go. He's gone! Can you believe it? Can you believe it? They could not have painted the picture clearer for the England captain, and he's fallen for it. Well, big shout here he's given him. George Sharp says that's out. It's close enough. It's very close. And Kansas done it again.
Ramprakash and Caddick kept England in the hunt with a useful stand of 47, which included a sweet 6 over the top from Caddick.
Caddick goes down the ground, and very solidly too.
Then O'Connor breached his defences with a full-length ball, and the tail from hell was exposed. The sight of Mullally, Tufnell and Giddins all padded up would have had Alex Stewart reaching for his inners, and the overnight score of 150 for 7 was soon transformed into 153 all out. Cairns took the bowling honours with 5 for 31, and Vettori's 3 for 46 had come from 33 miserly overs. Trailing by 83 and the series slipping away, England needed an Edgbaston-like fight back, and they produced one. Caddick was the perpetrator once again, although not before he'd beaten the bat half a dozen times, and then Giddins found his length to nip out Horn, Astle and Twos.
Back, he's gone. Oh, my word, that is sensational. What a catch. Irani again.
Yes, umpire Venkat is. Well, Roger Toos is lifting his leg, pointing to his pad, which is not going to please too many people sitting in the match referee's room.
The key wicket of Fleming, taken by Thorpe at slip off Caddick, was followed by the comical dismissal of Perori, 39 for 6, and England had moved to marginal favourites.
Oh, that's not good judgment. Back goes middle stump, back goes Perori.
If Chris Cairns had defeat on his mind, he didn't show it. From the start, he drove confidently through the covers, and although he lost the fourth right McMillan for 26, it only spurred him to greater deeds.
Well, interesting decision then, Dermot, wasn't it? Comes on first ball, gets smacked for 4.
Suddenly, Tufnell became his focus, and the large oval boundaries couldn't confine him.
Didn't quite get it, I don't think, but it still went many a mile.
That's better.
Oh, that's a big one. That's up here. That's coming right up here. And then right back onto the ground. Yep. Instead of hitting it for 6 over straight hit, he's hit it over deep extra cover.
With the lead increasing by the minute and England's victory prospects vanishing just as quickly, Hussain turned back to Giddins, but Cairns was unimpressed and continued the onslaught.
He's hit that very powerfully too. Fantastic batting.
Just when all seemed lost, Mullally conjured a moment of genius, and Cairns had gone. His score of 80 included 56 runs in boundaries and had transformed the match. For sheer bravado, it eclipsed Alex Tudor's knock as the innings of the series. Tufnell's 2 quick wickets now gave the plot an extra twist, and England were left to score 246 to win.
Got it. Bill Tufnell has finished the job. A lovely flighted delivery that spun back through the gate left by Shane O'Connor. The oval is on its feet. England are alive. They may yet be kicking. Done it again. Just seems to be the perfect combination. One of Cairns and Nash getting it pitched up around about off stump. And Stephen Fleming apparently infallible at slip. Darren Maddy has gone.
Darren Maddy was another victim of Nash and Fleming, but the vital wicket of Hussain for just 9 went to O'Connor, 45 for 2. Runs were coming though, and both Atherton and Thorpe now played with confidence. Thorpe was lucky with 1 square drive off O'Connor, but then unleashed a series of authentic boundaries to raise English spirits.
With the swinging delivery.
And again in the air. That's a very good shot.
Cairns appeared to have given his all with the bat, and Atherton took advantage of some short balls to boost the total and morale.
Gee, that's a good hook shot, it really is. This is a great late flurry.
The final day dawned with all to play for. 155 to win, 8 wickets in hand. Atherton pulled Nash for 4 to reach his 50, but the partnership was broken when Thorpe pushed forward to O'Connor and for the second time in the match edged to slip.
That's the wicket. Fabulous bit of bowling. Thorpe finally plays at one of those beautiful outswingers from Shane O'Connor. Stephen Fleming does it again.
20 runs later came the decisive moment of the innings. There are few batsmen more intransigent than an in-form Mike Atherton, but a misjudged pull shot was gleefully accepted by Perori and the floodgates were now open.
Perori's got him, first ball. Nash is on a hat-trick.
Ram Prakash went first ball, again to the irrepressible Nash, and then Stewart pulled the same bowler straight to square leg. The end was predictably swift.
Stewart has miscued the bouncer and has hit it straight to the man at square leg.
Vettori mopped up Caddick and then Irani to edges close to the wicket before Tufnell added his own brand of black comedy to proceedings with a mad piece of running.
He's also got a mid-on, he's going to be out, he's out. Great bit of fielding, terrible running. What was Tufnell doing? I don't know.
Mullally had even less faith in Giddins than he had in himself and was pouched by 2s in the deep. Fittingly, it was Cairns with his only wicket of the innings who completed proceedings.
And New Zealand have won the match. They have won the series and they have played excellent cricket.
So it was in this undistinguished fashion that England slipped to the foot of the unofficial Test match ladder. Hussain defiantly spoke of pride in his team and admitted the hurt that accompanied such a defeat. But the day belonged to Fleming. His calm assurance had smoothed the victorious passage for his country, and one sense that New Zealand had felt none of the public pressure, even at 1-0 down, that had burdened England for most of the series.